you see Brittany's bed?
I don't remember her bed, no.
Covered in stuffed animals.
No. I did see that, yes. Yep, stuffed animals.
She's 50 something.
From Jared, probably.
Why are you traveling? First of all, traveling overseas. You're packing multiple stuffed animals.
Yeah. Yeah, she's ridiculous.
Brittany doesn't have a hater, then I am dead.
Mm-hmm.
I just hate her.
Mm-hmm.
There was a while that she was a dingbat and it was funny. And at this point, I just hate everything about her as a person to the point that I can't even find her interesting.
Yep, I agree.
And her dress was ugly.
Listener discretion advised. Adult language and mature content.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Two Queens, One Screen. I'm Jen.
I'm Keeley.
And we have so many things to talk about today.
No.
We have I only watched the first episode of Vanderpump, and I've only watched the first episode of Beverly Hills, and you and I are already disagreeing about it. I don't know. Unless something amazing happens, I don't think I'm going to watch any more Vanderpump. I think Vanderpump Rules is dead to me.
Okay.
But you had positive feelings about it.
I really liked it. Yes.
Okay.
I liked it.
What's good? Tell me what's missing.
I love Venus. I think he should be on his own show. I want to see him again somewhere, somehow, sometime. I think he can carry this entire thing. He was so just fun to watch, was friends with everybody, and I just liked him a lot.
Here's the problem though. Now that you've said his name, and I go, and the hair, the beautiful hair, and he's got a fun little attitude.
Yes.
But I forgot about him because of how much I disliked everyone else.
No, I get that. Shane, the blonde guy he came in towards the end. He's trying to get with Natalie, but he's basically, wants to have sex with every single woman out there as soon as possible.
He had Adam vibes to me. Do you remember Sheena Shea and Adam? Adam's basically his best friend. She got him a penguin and an Apple Watch, I think.
Yeah.
Didn't like him.
Natalie, I go back and forth liking and not liking. Like, I think she's going to be a good train wreck to watch. And then the other girls were kind of meh. Like Demi, the manager, she's kind of meh. I'm trying to think what the other girls.
I felt like they were trying to recast Katie.
Sure.
With her.
I can see that.
Just kind of cold bitch.
Yeah.
Vibes, which I mean in the nicest way. I'm a Katie fan.
And, a little bit of Lala, because she was dating or is dating like a 70-year-old or something. I don't know. And she's 20. I don't remember. There was all of that. But then Marcus, who I think is secretly possibly bisexual, which is no shade or hate to him, but I just get that vibe from him.
Okay.
But he and Venus are best friends. I don't necessarily think he's the most attractive guy, but I mean, he's whatever. He's fine.
Are we talking about the older bug-eyed guy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know why they allow him on television. I will avoid that show just to not look at his face. And why does he think he is such hot shit?
I know. Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
I mean, he's worse than Jack.
Yeah. What was his girlfriend's name, the hostess? I can't remember her name. Another dark-haired girl. Anyway, she was kind of meh. I don't remember her name, but I don't know. I liked it. It's definitely not the OG. Definitely has nowhere near the stratosphere of that. So we'll see. I'm going to watch it.
Here's my plan. I'm going to have you watch it, and then when something great happens, I'll catch up if it happens.
Sure.
Beverly Hills, I just watched the premiere of that. I don't think we're too many episodes in.
No, I think it's just the one. Tonight is the second, but we can't watch it until tomorrow because we don't have.
We're on the Peacock. We don't have.
Yeah.
We don't watch live TV.
Right.
Oh, I am thrilled that Rachel Zoe is on. I'm also thrilled that she is in the middle of a divorce from Roger because I never liked Roger. She's a very specific type of woman, and he is not meeting her there and not supportive of her incredible career in fashion. And I've always loved her vibe. I think that she's really great. And you didn't watch her show that she had before.
That's correct. I did not.
So this is your first introduction to Rachel Zoe.
Yes.
And you're not a fan.
No, not at all. It's very jarring to look at her person. She's extraordinarily thin, and it's unsettling for me. I'm not trying to body shame or talk about people's bodies, but it's unsettling for me with her. I don't understand that. I'm a direct person. She's a direct person. I don't like her. I don't like her. I don't even know how to say it. I think Erica was very, what's the right word, by Rachel, in awe of her somehow, or...
Well, I mean, she was the kind of the first like celebrity stylist that became like her own name for celebrity styling.
Yeah.
And she kind of created that world. Because you look at old red carpets, sure, people would be dressed up, but they were dressing themselves. She's like pulling looks and archive pieces and kind of started that whole thing in the early 2000s. So I'm wondering if you're going to warm up to her because she is super witty. Like, she's funny. Very funny. And I feel like you guys have a similar sense of humor where it's like you're caring and you're supportive, but you're going to tell it exactly how it is. And I think that she's going to grow on you.
Okay.
I'm really hoping so. I think Dorit is such a polarizing person, and she's one of those people like Baby Gorgeous who I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
But I also can't stay mad at her.
Yeah.
Ever.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
I want to be mad at Dorit, and I understand why other people are mad at Dorit, but I'm also like, but I love her. Like, she's just too funny. And I think everything that she's going through with PK is fascinating to me.
And I think if you haven't watched her from the day one that she's been on the show, because she isn't like this. She's not normally the last couple of seasons how she's been. That is not her. And people are unnerved by her newfound confidence and ability to stand up for herself and speak her mind where she didn't do that before. And so I think that's why a lot of people just are flat out, they don't like her. But I like that about her, and I'm glad that that's helping her. Obviously, it's, not great for certain friendships, which is fine. But I can't stay mad at her either. We haven't met Amanda, the other new castmate yet, the other blonde.
I think they're going to eat her alive.
God, yeah, tonight or next week. But we haven't seen her yet.
Didn't see Jennifer Tilly. Is Jennifer Tilly a full-blown housewife now?
No, I think she's still a friend of. Yeah.
Okay.
We, Sutton just threw, the grenade, took out the pin, threw the grenade in about Avi, right, not being there and didn't explain anything. So she alluded to something about people talking or something, comments or statements or something like that. She alluded to, I didn't understand that, but she didn't really tell us why Avi isn't there.
It's such a weird thing when because they were enmeshed, right? Like, where that line between employer and employee and friendship get really blurry.
Yeah.
I have been very close with bosses before. I worked at a really incredible bakery that was literally run out of this woman's home. And when I was working there, I had my babies there. I got to bring my babies into work with me. I felt like I was helping her kind of build this business. Like I felt like I was contributing to this thing that she had going. And I got to go to her son's wedding. She was at my kids' birthday parties. She babysat my kids at my house for me so I could go out with my husband a couple times. Like good. Like I cried when my sister died. Like she was super supportive when we talked about everything. But then when it's like there is still a hierarchy there. There's still like structures. And I think that when you lose those boundaries, which we had, and I had a really hard time when she was like, no, now we're going to start doing boundaries and we're going to do this whole new structure of what it was. That was too hard for me.
Yeah.
I like couldn't reset from that. It felt like a betrayal, but really it was that she had to protect her business, maybe is a way to look at it. But like with her and Avi, he's doing everything. He's so involved in like all the little aspects, everything with her mom. He knows the ins and outs of what's going on in her life. Yeah. And so like if he's going in, like it's like a not just a work thing, it becomes like a friendship betrayal, and that's icky. Yeah. And I'm like, what happened?
I know.
I'm desperate to know more. Yeah. And I don't know if Sutton's going to give it to us.
Yeah. I hope so. I don't know either. They did have, which frustrated the shit out of me, a very, I think, untruthful conversation about why nobody knew why Garcelle left. Nobody knew why Garcelle is not talking to Sutton anymore. Bitch, we all know, and
everyone knows. We watched it happen.
The entire, nation, the entire world, people, everybody knows. We watched it on TV. And for them to go on there and say, we have no idea. And then Kyle to go on to watch what happens live afterward and go, I have no idea. I thought it was really weird. We have all tried to reach out and she's not talking to us. And we've all unfollowed each other and nobody knows why they're not friends anymore. Are you joking?
Yeah. I love Garcelle. I'm sad that I'm not going to see her. And I did enjoy her friendship with Sutton, but Sutton just threw her under the bus and like left her out in the cold. Protect your peace, Garcelle. Go enjoy your beach house.
Yep.
Go
we all
have
know.
fun with your
they
grandbaby.
all know. It was not okay. I don't know what that was.
BS.
That pissed me off.
I saw a couple of things about that on TikTok, and I was watching the videos and I was like, still right now to this day, still they're like, I don't know.
So bad.
So I got to talk about TikTok too.
Okay.
Can we talk about TikTok?
Yeah.
Something weird is happening to my TikTok. And I love TikTok not because it's a good thing. I think honestly, looking at like my history and my genetic markers, like I should be addicted to like hard drugs, but they hurt my tummy. So instead I've addicted to TikTok, and it's bad. And I've had to put little things on my phone to make me stop looking at it as much. But I feel like the algorithm is really good. I feel like it shows me things. It shows me new things that I might not have seen, whereas Instagram's just showing me the same shit.
Yeah.
I get new things from TikTok. I learn different crafts. I learn different things about myself. I learn new information. I love TikTok. But lately, I feel like the algorithm is doing like a weird thing. And we've talked about before, does your TikTok also think that you're a lesbian?
Yes.
Or bisexual? They're like, I get a lot of lesbian content, which I don't hate.
I don't mind. I don't hate. I don't mind. Education is knowledge and power, right?
Ally. Totally in for it. Plus it's fun.
Yeah.
That's fine. Then it's also been sending me this shit for Magnolia Pearl.
I don't know what
Have you seen this? Part of me is like, is this AI? It has to be a scam. It is this like hippy dippy / farmhouse fashion brand. And it's got these long blonde haired white women who look like trad wives, but then they're wearing this like patchwork clothing that's kind of hippie-ish and these dumb hats. Everything looks terrible. And it's super fucking expensive. And it's all like shredded a little bit. It is the weird Google, if you're listening to us now, Google Magnolia Pearl. I'm dressed like Tony Soprano right now. I really am. I was just wearing this and I was like, it just looks like I'm in a wife beater. And then I threw this on and I was like, now I look like him when he's like had a hard day. I'm weekend Tony Soprano at home. I would never dress in this clothing. And it's like prairie meets acid trip. I don't understand what's happening. It's like if you put pastel florals on the lead singer of Four Non-Blondes.
Shit. Nope.
Is that what the band was called?
Yeah.
Or is it Five Non-Blondes? And whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on? Yeah. That is, it doesn't make any sense. So, and they are just pushing it at me. And I don't believe that it's a real thing. And then this other thing that is, I don't know, I think I should be offended. It's all of these ads and it's different people doing these ads. And it's like when you watch TV back in the day and they're like, were you injured from this product, blah, blah, blah. This one is, you incarcerated in a women's prison in California and assaulted or abused by the orderlies or the jailers or the whatever corrections officers. And they name all the people there and they're like, you can join this lawsuit. And it is getting sent to me. It's like 1 out of every 5 TikToks that I have are like, when you were in prison in California, did this happen to you? And I'm like, who said that I was in prison in California? TikTok is totally like, remember how you have that fraud case against you or whatever? And I'm like, no, I don't. TikTok is convinced that I am a hippie lesbian criminal. And I'm not. Nothing against hippie lesbian criminals. It's just not who I am in my core. So that is, I don't know what's going on with my algorithm. Thank you for sending me the puppy videos, because that literally has changed a little bit of it. I'm starting to get more dog and cat videos again.
Thank you.
Have you gotten this thing? I think I sent it to you. But
you
beyond
sent
me sending
me the California video, I've never seen that. Nope. I've never seen that.
They're like, it's not her. She works in the courthouse. Jen, on the other hand.
Oh my god.
So China thinks that I am a criminal.
God.
It hurts me feelings.
Well, I see so much lesbian content, I start dreaming that I'm a lesbian. I've told you that before. That I don't, which is, again, not altogether bad, but.
No. Yeah, totally. Total ally.
Yes.
Love seeing it. Usually the videos are pretty funny.
Yes.
I don't like the ones where like really like done up lesbians are like singing to you, like flirting with you. Guys do these videos too. I used to get them for a little bit and I'd send them to Matt. Matt's like, stop sending them to me. Yeah. But it's like people lip syncing and like doing their body rolls. Like the fucking guys from 90 Day Fiancé when they started making those. But there's also like, I get a lot of lesbians doing that.
Okay.
And they're not performing for me. I'm not their target audience, but TikTok thinks that I am. But anyway, I just needed to vent about that and get that off my chest.
I'm sorry. That is frustrating.
I don't know what's going on, what I've done. What's the wrong turn that I took on TikTok? All right, let's talk about, we've got a couple things, our big things tonight. The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City go to Greece. And then you have a true crime story time for us.
Yep.
Which was super good. I watched it today.
Nice.
All right, so let's talk about Greece, the Greece of it all.
We didn't unfortunately get to see anybody take a drug test. So
no one took a drug test.
Nobody took a drug test that we saw on camera. And we just saw that, in the middle of everything, somehow Angie just says she's taking everybody to Greece. So
yeah, so everyone's going to Greece. And then also we're all going to Greece and we're all on good terms. Everyone's best friends again. We're all fine. Everything we've just... Apparently, Bronwyn's party clean slated it, and we're all good. Is how they all get on the plane together. And then they had, apparently it takes 2 days to get to Greece. And yet they're still all, other than Bronwyn, in full glam when they finally land and get dinner.
Yeah.
I found that startling.
Yeah, agreed. I can't fly to Utah without having some mental breakdown and looking like I've, crawled out from underneath the bridge for the last week. So,
I mean, you saw me when I got to your house.
I mean,
from Thanksgiving. It's not pretty, and the smell is even worse. But yeah, so Angie is totally like, kumbaya, we are all best friends. I love you so much. Greece is incredible. And Greece does look incredible.
Yeah.
Holy fucking shit.
There.
Angie has completely made up for how shitty the beginning of the season was.
The camping.
The camping in that camper.
God.
She has completely redeemed herself. This trip is, she says, it's class A all the way. It is fancy, fancy, fancy.
Yeah.
I mean, the villa that they're staying at, the views that they have, every meal is incredible. Angie did a really, really, really good job. Whit is in the background. So as we're all in kumbaya mode, we're actually not in kumbaya mode, but it's all like just under the surface.
Yeah.
So Whitney feels like Bronwyn has really betrayed her trust, which is bullshit. We said this last time. Lisa feels like after this Greece trip that Angie shouldn't be allowed to talk about Greece anymore. She's Greeked out.
Which I laughed at.
I thought that was funny. I was like, you know that this is just going to make it worse. Because now she feels like Greece connects you.
Right.
Fucked.
And that's what even Angie's daughter, Electra, said, Mom, stop talking about Greece.
But then we see her in Greece and you're like, this is why she talks about Greece all the time. I would be, if I got to go on those vacations, I'd be talking about it too. So speaking of how they looked after the flights, Angie is talking about how she got her ocular fat pads removed, that they like stick in the surgery. They like stick in, I'm trying to make it happen with the light. They stick like chopstick type things in and boop, 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 and like chop it all up.
Break up the fat
and then smooth it all out for you.
Yep.
To be fair, Angie looks great. It is smooth. It is pretty. She looks young.
And Bronwyn this is the same person that later in the episode complains that Lisa is doing glam. So we can get to that, but give me a break, just so you know.
I mean, well, it's one of those things where I think it can be argued she does the work up front to have to do less work later. You know, she does the high maintenance stuff up front to then be low maintenance the rest of her trip. Is what I'm just devil's advocate there. Bronwyn says that hers look awful, and Bronwyn's, you can see hers. She's like, and they're gonna stay looking bad because I refuse to get that surgery. Mm-hmm. Meredith chimes in while they're chatting and says, you know, I do Botox. I like Botox, but I'm not into fillers. And then Heather's like, everyone should get fillers. I think everyone should get fillers to their heart's content, because I think, isn't that part of her business?
Yeah.
Mayor's like, get fillers. Listen, if I could afford those things, I would be that lion lady so fast. So fast, I would have every little single thing done. But I don't know. Well, would you do those things?
I'd probably do the surgery instead of the fillers. Like, I'd be an Angie and go in and do all the, I would do all of that. Or the threading or whatever it is that Lisa does, right? I do all of that. I don't think I would go in and do Botox or fillers. I think, I
would do all of it that they want to give me. If they tell me to do it, I'll do it. Then it becomes this like little, we're talking about the under the surface thing. Heather makes kind of this announcement that she has a Cartier watch, and that Lisa won't like that she has a Cartier watch. And Lisa's like, no, I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you have a Cartier watch. This is what housewives should be. This is what I need. This is what I need this franchise to move back to. I would like to get back on this kind of level. And even Bronwyn's like, this is the level of petty I'm here for. I want to know all about it. Because apparently during the flight, Lisa had gotten irritated with Angie because Angie had a Cartier watch, and that was kind of Lisa's thing. Or Lisa had gotten one first, and she thinks that Angie was copying her. And so Heather, hearing this, when on their 2 days of travel, went to the duty-free shop, or there's like a Cartier duty-free mall area, and they had a Cartier store there, and she picks up her and Whitney matching Cartier watches. So they both have them, and they're doing it just to irritate Lisa, which, by the way, cost about $6,000. I want that kind of fuck you money. Mm-hmm. Like, I kind of want to irritate someone. I'm going to spend $6,000 on a watch to be an asshole for 2 minutes.
Yeah. And when she said it was $6,000, she's like, no, it's like $6,000. What? You make that face?
Are
with
you,
those
Heather?
numbers? I don't understand. I mean, that's mean. I mean, I know it's a level of petty, but to do that on purpose, I just think Heather is just being mean. She's moving into being a mean girl.
No,
I mean, she's already judge, jury, and executioner. I mean,
yeah. No, I think that Heather is going through a transition right now and finding herself and figuring out where she fits in. The Angie, Lisa stuff, I enjoyed. The Heather stuff was just like, the tone of this is all wrong.
Yes.
Because Heather used to be us, right? And now she's like really bought in on, I think, the fame that she's getting. And I mean, she's got her TV special on Mormonism and she's put out the books, and it's like, you're also doing the thing that you say that you hate about Lisa, where it's like, I do big things, and now like you have fuck you money, and I'm just disappointed because I liked when she was more relatable, and she's just actively becoming less and less relatable while also deciding that she's Queen Bee. And you're like, what are you? I don't want her to be less confident. I'm so glad that she's confident. She said on Watch What Happens Live, Andy had asked her, what is the most surprising thing to you over the last 6 years? And she says, that people like me. She's like, it sounds silly, but it's that people are interested in my story and that it resonated with them. I was really surprised that people wanted to hear about that. And we do. I genuinely do. But there's this hubris and this meanness and this superiority thing that's happening. There's a difference between feeling confident in yourself and feeling superior. And I feel like she's decided she's superior, and I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, she's 100% worried about her position in this friend group. And that's all she cares about. She admitted it on Watch What Happens Live. She admitted it at the table where she was like, now I know where I stand, and boo-hoo and poor me. That's all you care about? Really? That's all you care about? When before she would be the one after a fight being petty, and she would say, we all love each other, right? We all have faults. And she would try and get the group back together. She would try and, tell people, Whitney and Meredith, you guys like each other. Angie and Mary, you guys like each other. She was that person trying to pull people in to remind them why they're all friends. And she is not that person anymore. She does not do, because she's worried about her position in this friend group, and it's gross. It's gross to admit on Watch What Happened Live to Andy. I can't believe she actually said that. And I took it the opposite way than you just said it. I took it like I was just grossed out by it. That just is, everything I thought about why she's being a mean girl is because her position in this friend group, she thinks she should be above everybody else. No.
I think she was kind of like the moral high ground, but she had it with good intentions, and now she's kind of using it to punish people. Instead of using it to try and fix things and bring peace, she's using it to punish people, I think, is what it is. That's a bummer. And apparently all of this with the Cartier watches, I'm not a watch person. I don't wear a watch. I have one and I never wear it. My dad gave me watches. I never wear them. But she said that apparently the Cartier watch is kind of a grandma's watch. It's like for old ladies. Didn't know that. And then she's like, but I guess none of us are spring chickens. So she had a sense of humor about the whole thing. But she's like, why are we talking about a Cartier watch like it's something you want? Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
But Lisa did see that Angie was copying her, and she's like, first it started with the watches, and then I was wearing Schiaparelli, and then you were wearing Schiaparelli, and I got a Rolex and the Porsches, and it's like become this competition. They're both saying that it's not a competition, and Angie is setting up this argument that Lisa is all about things. Lisa's like, I don't care about things, you care about things, and they both don't hear themselves. I guess it's like you both started this over who's copying who and who had what first and who's had more Porsches, and it was just ridiculous. And I actually enjoyed how it turned into humor at the end, because Lisa was like, one of my favorite things to do, my hobby is to get in the bathtub and scroll on my phone and find these unique pieces. And they're like, but bathtubs are Meredith's thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, and it was funny. And it was just this cute little, and then it like smoothed over. And I was like, oh, I like that. Then they're kind of showing everyone finally get to go to sleep and restart for the next day. In the like quick montage of everyone going to bed and then waking up, did you see Brittany's bed?
I don't remember her bed, no.
Covered in stuffed animals.
No. I did see that. Yes. Yep. Stuffed animals.
She's 50 something.
From Jared, probably.
Why are you traveling? First of all, traveling overseas. You're packing multiple stuffed animals.
Yeah. She's ridiculous.
Brittany doesn't have a hater, then I am dead.
Mm-hmm.
I just hate her.
Mm-hmm.
There was a while that she was a dingbat and it was funny. And at this point, I just hate everything about her as a person to the point that I can't even find her interesting.
Yep. I agree.
And her dress was ugly. So the other thing is that Lisa has hired daily glam, and apparently at home, she has a makeup artist come every morning and do her makeup every morning.
I want that.
If you could afford it, 100%.
100% I'd do that.
100% I'd do it.
And I would just swirl in the hate when you're like, why do you have that? You don't need that. I'd be like, yes, keep going. Keep talking, lady, because she's going to come tomorrow.
It, but I have it.
She's going to come tomorrow and the day after that. And so you can suck it, 100%. Yeah.
Again, with what's going on under the surface, Heather still isn't forgiving Meredith. And apparently Meredith has tried to reach out to Heather, but Meredith's like, I want to have this conversation one-on-one. Heather's like, not feeling it, not responding to calls, not responding to text messages. So Meredith goes, all right, then we're fine. We're just moving forward. I'm not going to fight with this.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not willing to put anything in. I want to move forward. You're not ready to move forward. Then, call me when you're ready. But otherwise I don't really care. Heather says it's because she feels like she's mad at Meredith because Meredith said it's her, it's me. And Meredith's saying, no, I never said that. Yeah. So now you've called Heather a liar. And Heather does not want to be called a liar. She feels like her character's been assassinated, so she's done. And I don't know. I can see both sides of this where it's like, no, we're friends. I was your ride or die, except for that she wasn't her ride or die. But she was on Meredith's side until the Brittany thing happened. So I can see why Heather feels frustrated that Meredith's calling her a liar in front of everyone. But I also can see where Meredith's like, if you say you're ride or die with me, but then you're taking this bitch's side after she's pulling out this TikTok to hurt me. She's openly said she was doing it to hurt me. And at this point, I've squashed the beef with her. I took her aside. We had a conversation. We're moving forward. So why are you still pissed?
Yeah.
You weren't there. But Heather's like, but you called me a liar in front of everyone. So now we're in a weird place. They go to a Greek beach club that looked so beautiful. Everyone looks really, really, really good. But Mary's my best dressed. I thought Mary looked so fucking cute in her long floral dress. Angie puts on a really dumb bucket hat that has the Greek flag all over it. And Angie looked really good and then puts on the dumb hat. And Mary's like, take your dumb hat off. You look great. And now you've put it, and Angie's like, I know, I was just trying to have a moment, but it's gone. She doesn't take it personally, which I appreciate about Angie. But then Mary's like, wait, let me see your face, Bronwyn. And Bronwyn's like, okay. And she's like, take your hat off. And she's like, you have a bucket-shaped face. She's like, let me see you, Heather. You have a bucket-shaped face. But then they are both like, what the fuck? I'm just sitting here. Why are you saying that I have a bucket head? She's like, yeah, you've got a bucket-shaped head. And then she goes on to say that means that they're smart and they're clever and that they can take, it's like a bucket of, it just holds all the information. And then she goes on to say that there's all different shapes of faces. And if you have a square-shaped head, that's the worst one because then you're a dingbat. Which hurts me personally. I feel personally attacked by this because as I'm getting older, I am looking more and more like my father. And there is no one who is built more like a series of squares than my dad. My dad has a square head. He has a square body. Dad is squares. And now all I can see in the mirror now is my father. And I'm like, fuck. So So not only do I look like my dad, but also Mary looks at me and goes, she's a dingbat. Look at her square head. So that hurt my feelings. What I used to have, before I got old and I'm getting these jowls, I used to have a heart-shaped face. You kind of have a heart-shaped face.
You still have a heart-shaped face.
I know, but look at these corners coming in.
My God, heaven forbid.
What am I talking about? Oh, so then they go to lunch and they start talking about the hot men in Greece. Heather saw a really hot guy on a little flamingo boat. And he was hot, and I think he was like, what the fuck are all these women doing here? And Angie turns to Bronwyn and says, are you planning on getting any phone numbers from hot Greek men while you're in Greece?
I don't see a wedding ring.
You're not wearing a wedding ring. And it is said in a playful tone, but I felt like that was shitty. I felt like it was like, she's having weird issues with her husband right now. I don't know that teasing about it is the right approach to this at the time. And Bronwyn goes, you're a fucking idiot mode, right? Well, I don't know.
Angie says about the open marriage, which, I'm sorry, I don't know if I skipped an episode or I was dead or on drugs, but I'm sorry, but Bronwyn told all of that to Whitney in confidence. I don't believe anybody else was at that restaurant in that conversation. And how does now the entire table know that Bronwyn talked about an open relationship with her husband?
Yeah. And is that exactly what Bronwyn did to Whitney, supposedly?
Yeah. And
sounds like it to me.
Whitney's getting her back.
Although Angie had also said that it had been a conversation that had been had openly at some point, which we don't know. But yeah, would we watch the conversation between Bronwyn and Todd? Todd was like, no, I don't want to open the marriage. That's not what I want. I made a mistake and I don't want to open up the marriage and everything is fine going forward. We're just going to be married and not open at the end. But yeah, it's pointed out that she's not wearing her wedding ring. I wear my wedding band all the time, just like the band.
Yeah.
But like other rings, I don't wear all the time. You don't wear your wedding ring all the time.
No.
But you did get a tattoo.
I did get a tattoo, but I don't wear it all the time. And a tattoo doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I thought it was in such bad taste. And I really wanted her to call Whitney out. It made me feel gross. I got the
Bronwyn did, I think, the classy thing, which was are you okay? She's like, I think you took 2 and 2 and made 5 here, but okay, whatever. Like, she became very, like, above it all. And she's like, this is shitty, and I thought we weren't talking about each other's marriages anymore, and why the fuck are you talking about this?
Yeah.
She didn't say that, but that was definitely the air of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I adore Todd. We're so happy. And Heather was like, are you happy? But are you happy? And she's like, yes, we're happy. Yes, we're happy. And there's no drama in my house. And I was like, literally last episode, the last conversation we saw you have was, what the fuck is going on? And you said that you had asked him to leave. And they have this whole like back and forth. You said you had asked him to leave. Yes, but we're not separated. I just said he couldn't come home for a couple days. No drama in my house. We're very happy. I adore him. And you're like, okay, she's not ready to talk about it. And I think Meredith said something incredibly kind in that moment, which was like, hey, I've been there as well. Just a heads up. They're not going to let this go. Like, it's going to come up again. Like, I see you. I support you. This will be coming up again.
Yeah.
Just so you know. And I think Meredith is the best person to have insight for Bronwyn in this. I felt badly for Bronwyn, but I was also like, you can't open up that much and then pretend like nothing happened. That you didn't tell them that you kicked him out. That you didn't tell everyone that you were looking into what an open marriage could mean for you guys, that you weren't discussing it with him, that you didn't see him on Twitter on his phone looking at naked women. Like, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. And then be like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Everything's fine. But then the other women need to see that and go, oh, she's not okay talking about it. There's a certain point where it's like, I'm your friend. I'm here for you. Let's be real for a second. And I don't think I don't feel like that was the approach that everyone took.
Yeah.
Personally.
No, I agree. But why is it that they do that with Bronwyn, but they expect Lisa to do the exact opposite to bare her soul and always be vulnerable and always be open. But when Bronwyn is asked about these things, they all are, oh, okay, well, I guess we're backing off. We're not going to talk about it. And they don't attack her like they attack Lisa. It's just a double standard, and it makes my head hurt.
I think it's the energy that comes at them. And I'm not saying that that's fair, but also no one's talking about what's going on with her and John anymore. No one's talking about her court case. They've just stopped. So at least that's actually done. I think the Bronwyn stuff probably isn't going to come up again for a while. Bronwyn needs to decide. Like Lisa says, look, I'm a brick house. You are not. I'm not opening up for this. Not opening up to you guys. Not telling you. Bronwyn's going, hey guys, here's everything. No, don't look. Don't ask me about this. Here's everything. No, you can't be totally open and then totally closed and totally open and then totally closed. In my opinion. Or like expect people not to be surprised when you go, no, we're fine. And you're like, but he wasn't at home last week. Like you kicked him out last week. Your guys are fine. Yes, I adore him. It's fine. That part right there. But again, it's like a good friend would see that and go, sorry, that was, you tell me when you want to talk about it. That's what a good friend does. I'm here for you when you want. And that's what Meredith did, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think part of all of that happening, I think you basically said that about Whitney. I think Whitney was trying to set her up to be in an uncomfortable position.
Oh yeah, me too. I completely agree with that. I totally agree. But I also had the thought that maybe she got in trouble by Todd for having that conversation with Whitney saying, I want to find him a girl. And I would love to, say, yeah, I picked her out for him. And, that conversation felt authentic and genuine and like her true feelings. And he probably saw that, or whatever happened. And he, scolded her, and now she's not allowed to be herself anymore and say those things. That's the vibe that I got from the whole, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Instead of saying, yeah, I said whatever, or I said something to that effect, and, Todd was upset, and now I don't. There's an explanation, and we can move on. But I don't know, maybe not, but that's kind of the vibe that I got.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. So right after that, they go back. They drive back. Nico is the best driver in the world. And they only got 1 hour to get ready before they're going to walk into town and have shopping and then go to dinner. And they're like, oh my God, an hour? I only have an hour to get ready. And Meredith's like, I have to wash my hair. It's like, then go shower. But these ladies are doing a lot more than maybe you and I are doing on a regular basis.
We're trashy, remember?
Apparently. Heather goes in to talk to Mary and get some advice. She's like, yeah, I don't trust having a one-on-one conversation with Meredith because I think that she sets you up and will, without having other people here, I think she's going to twist whatever we say, whatever the conversation is, and not be forthcoming. And I think that that's a little bit valid considering the fact that no two people have the same experience of what happened on that flight. So Mara's saying, nothing happened. I vented to a friend for 30 minutes and it wasn't that bad. And then you have the other extreme, which is Brittany being like, she was pulling my hair and shaking my chair. And then you have everyone else go like, I was in and out of sleep, but I heard her and this was definitely happening. Stuff happened. Again, I'm on the team of, I think that it's somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's as bad as Brittany's. I don't think it's the sixth worst thing that ever happened to Brittany. I also don't think that Meredith did nothing and was like, it was just Brittany eavesdropping on her conversation with her friend. Yeah. I think that there's something in the middle. And I think Meredith is taking zero accountability for she at some point went over the line. She went one-on-one with Brittany, squashed it, and so we're done. But I don't think she really was she's like, I'm sorry for hurting your feelings. I don't think that she really, really apologized, but she did enough to smooth it over, and that's her prerogative. Mary tells Heather, hey, you need to be more direct with her. And Heather's like, I was very direct with her at the Boston Tea Party, and she just called me a liar. So what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
And Mary's like, I don't understand what's wrong with these women, and I really want to know your perspective on this. She's like, I was raised to be direct and honest, and why can't the other women? It's like they care about other people's feelings. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I'm joking. But I think, I want to know what you think about that. Like, why is it so much harder for the other women than it is for someone like Mary? Like, why can't they be more direct?
Because, like she said, they're worried about the other person's feelings. And you have to, in my mind, weigh what's more important. Is the other person and their feelings, how they're going to take it, their reaction, whatever else, more important than you saying whatever it is you need to say? And obviously it bases on context and subject and all of those things. But, there are times where you're like, well, this is not the right time or the day to say X. I'm going to say X next time. And this time I'm going to say Y. Most of the time I say X, regardless of what's going on, because in my mind, your reaction is your problem. Your reaction has to do with you and not me. That's just how it goes. If you have a problem with what I just said, your problem. It's not my problem. I didn't give you the problem. You now have the problem. Just like we talked about with triggers. My triggers are my problem, not yours to dance around and make sure I'm okay and blah, 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 blah. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. If I have a problem, I'm going to keep myself and take care of me. If I'm telling you something and being direct with you, there's a reason for that. And I'm putting myself over you, telling you whatever this thing is that I need to tell you. I learned all of that from when like I said before, when my ex-husband divorced me. I was not this person before he divorced me. I was very submissive. I didn't talk out of line. My feelings were his feelings. My thoughts were his thoughts. That was it. And I thought he loved me because I loved him. Did you hear what I said? I thought he loved me because I loved him. It doesn't work like that. He didn't love me. And he didn't love me definitely because I loved him. It just made me a different person and made me think about me. I'm sorry, and not you. Again, context and subject matter.
Sure, of course.
But it's just about me. I'm sorry.
Well, I think that's like a super valid and honestly emotionally healthy thing. I think you can care about people, but also say, listen, I'm going to express myself in an honest and direct way. And that's probably the healthiest way to have those conversations, right? And I wrote keep sweet culture, like Mormon culture, where like, and not my personal experience, but I'm wondering if this speaks to you in your experience of like the women in these cultures often are having to adapt to, it's not what they think. It's they're having to be submissive. They're having to follow and fall in line. And also when they are going to speak up, they are constantly going, well, how is this going to be received? How do I say this in such a way that they can take it in the right way? And walking on eggshells and thinking about people like Bronwyn. So Bronwyn's not in the Mormon church anymore, but holy shit, is she submissive to her husband and following in line and doing, and like completely 180ing and changing her story about what a situation is with him after she's had a conversation with her friends versus him. And I think Heather is very much in that. I think she's in the process of breaking out of that, and that's why she feels so comfortable being like, you can't do that, you can't do this. And I think it's that like pendulum swing of like, she was stuck over here and she's broken out of that and she's gone a little bit too far, and hopefully she can swing back and kind of like settle down a little bit. But that was kind of what I was seeing, because Mary was raised to be a strong, independent leader of a woman. And a lot of these women were not raised to be that way. Even Angie, who's boss bitch. Angie was raised to be a good mother and to keep a home, and she's not really supposed to be like she's Greek, she's loud, but she's not supposed to necessarily throw herself out there and rock the boat. Unless it's like bringing positivity to it. So that's kind of, and I think Whitney's exactly in the same boat as Heather. Yeah, that's just kind of the vibe I was getting. And Meredith's just like, I'm gonna do the least that I have to in this. I'm not gonna put myself out there. I'm not gonna get involved. And yet all this shit's getting thrown at her. And so she's like, I don't know. I just wouldn't fight Meredith. I just wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone leaves to go walking up the hill, and they're like, wear flats. No one listens to that rule. It's like, we're walking on cobblestones. They leave Lisa because Lisa's still in glam. They're not going to wait for her. They're going. They want to go see the sunset. So they don't even say anything to her. They wave at her and go. Whitney at one point falls down a hill, and like they can't get her up. I didn't think that they were drinking already. Maybe they were just still drunk. But they, like, a man had to come help her and get her up. Brittany couldn't help her because she's in heels and a short skirt.
It was stupid. The whole thing was stupid.
It was dumb, but she just kept sliding down. Like, the hill wasn't that much of an incline, but she just kept going down. It's like, look at her. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Heather, they're walking around the town. They're shopping. The shops look incredible. Oh my God, so fun. The views are incredible. Angie has kind of broken off. It's Angie and Heather and Whitney, maybe Brittany. Maybe. And she's like, look at this view. And they're all moved. Like, Heather's crying. It's stunning. I couldn't even imagine. I bet it's incredible in person. Beautiful views. These just like white plaster or whatever they're made out of buildings, and the lights on them with the sun setting and the ocean. Oh my God, it's incredible. It looks incredible. And Heather is our good time girl. She's there. She's going to have a fun time. She's going to engage with everybody other than Meredith. And she's going to be a bitch to Lisa. But for the reason that, like, if you're Angie, Heather is the ideal person to take on this trip. She's going to embrace everything. She's going to love the culture of it. She's going to really try and dive in. That's who I try to be on trips. So if anyone would like to take me to Greece, I would be happy to be your Heather. I will do it. I will do whatever you need. I don't know. What did you think of that moment? Also, I think that Whitney is on her period. Because Whitney can't stop crying. And she refuses to wear white. And you're in Greece. You wear white when you're in Greece. Go ahead.
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
I thought it was a bit much. I didn't really. I mean, Angie says, okay, now prepare yourself for what comes around the corner. And I'm thinking, God, does she have like dancers or something? Like what? And it's just the view, which is fine. But then, like you said, I think they're all drunk. And it was just a little bit ridiculous for me. I think that's just because Angie's a friend of Lisa, right? That's how Angie got on the
That's how
show.
It started, yeah.
Yeah. So I just, for whatever reason, Angie has crawled up Heather's ass, and I don't know. In the very beginning of the show, Heather and Mary were the only ones called over to Angie's house to practice Greek and have Greek food. Like, that was weird, and I didn't understand it. And like, if more people had showed up other than Meredith and Lisa, I would have been like, okay, this is a funny little thing. But it was very weird to me that Heather and Mary were the only ones there. I mean, if Mary was the only one there, I would have gotten behind just that. But Heather was there. It was weird.
I think Heather's just all about immersing herself in a vacation, which is, I guess.
No, it's very phony. It seems very phony to me. And I think Whitney was just plastered. So, yeah. I don't know. I kind of
that's the vibe I got.
Yeah.
We do have Meredith and Mary and Bronwyn. They're kind of in a different little shopping thing. And Mary's the peacekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
And Mary's like, Meredith, I really think, like, what's going on? I think you can fix it. And she's just abrupt. She's just like immediate, blunt. What's going on? Are you going to fix it?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, maybe I should get her this little gift. And they're like, yes, that's a great idea. So nice. So Meredith is like on board of like, yeah, maybe I need to do a little bit more to like smooth this out and move forward. But she hasn't been able to get anything from Heather. So they also are talking shit, not Mary, but then all the women with Angie they're all talking shit about Lisa because she spent all this time on glam instead of she needs to look beautiful instead of going and enjoying the beautiful sunset. And she's supposed to be here with her group of friends, but she's taking this me time. And then you see Lisa, and Lisa apparently shows up like 2 to 3 hours late, but I think she probably got glam finished not that much longer because she's walking around in Santorini during the daytime before the sun had set, and she's just exploring and taking pictures and enjoying. I don't fault Lisa at all, because sometimes when you're on a group vacation, you just need a little time to yourself. Sometimes you just need to, I mean, you and me and Matt went and got ourselves coffee a couple times. Like, we just need, let's just get a little break. We don't need to, everybody doesn't need to be here. And that's, I support it. I think Lisa, different people travel different ways.
Yeah.
Some people travel and they want to relax the whole time. Some people travel and they want to be go, go, go the whole time. Some people travel in like a mixture of it. And I think that everyone's travel styles, especially in this economy, need to be honored, because take that break, take that experience as you want it.
Yeah. Yep.
So they're talking shit about how Lisa's materialistic and Elisa doesn't want to, it's all about how Lisa looks and not about Lisa experiencing this thing. I think Lisa went and experienced Santorini exactly how she wanted to.
Right.
And then when it was obligated to go catch up with her friends so they could all go to dinner, she did that. And she said, it's beautiful. I loved it. Thank you. I'm sorry, everyone's being shitty to Lisa. Lisa has a certain standard of living and a certain standard of how she keeps herself up. And if that's not how you do it, fine, that's how she's going to do it. And I don't think that that necessarily means that she's a shitty person because she wanted to look nice when she went out and about on camera. Personally, that's how I feel.
But you can call Angie a shitty person for getting surgery before vacation. Like, I don't, just apples and apples, bitch.
Right.
Like I said before, it's the same thing. She actually had how many thousands of dollars worth of surgery before this trip, for this trip, to get ready for this trip. And Lisa is doing the exact same thing. It's just not having surgery. So I don't understand the difference.
Half of one, 6 dozen of an, or
no, exactly.
or 6 of one, half dozen. There's a numbers situation there that I'm not totally clear on, but it means they're the same. They're just different. So they all go to this dinner, and Meredith wants to have a sit down, and she's actually talked to Heather during the trip. They were sitting together on the bus, and we've had no drama in the vans this time, thank God. But she does say, you know, I'd really like to have some one-on-one conversation with you. And Heather's like, sure, whatever. But she's not really saying yes to it. And then they sit down, and Meredith gives a gift to Heather. And it's this pretty little evil eye necklace. And she's like, oh, and she puts it on. And she's like, and Bronwyn's like, yeah, it's a peace offering. Bronwyn or Mary says, it's a peace offering. And she's like, well, it's not going to work, but I'll take it. It's so pretty. Thank you. Why? And so they just start to hash it out. And Meredith's like, I don't want to hash it out in a group setting. I want to have a conversation with you one-on-one. I understand why she doesn't want to do that, because she doesn't want everyone else to be able to chime in and start attacking her and screaming over her like Whitney starts doing.
Yep.
Heather doesn't want to do it one-on-one because she feels like she will be misrepresented after. That also has kind of happened, especially with the Meredith Brittany thing. I'm not on Brittany's side. I just don't think that Meredith really gave like a genuine apology and took accountability for whatever happened on the plane. Again, we still don't know whatever happened on the plane. But Brittany doesn't say anything, which I think is the correct thing. Keep your mouth shut. But in the confessional, she was like, yeah, I think that Meredith owes an apology to Whitney and Heather because she called them liars and said that they didn't know what they were talking about, and that sucks. Heather said that it's about Meredith's selective outrage. There's worse things that have been dropped into her lap that she's handled fine, but she didn't handle this fine. And she just wants her to be like, I'm sorry I did that. Whitney's chiming in and being like, look what you've done to all of us. This is all about what you did. And you're like, shut the fuck up, Whitney. Why? We're all fighting because of your actions. And you're like, and Lisa keeps stepping in for Meredith. Like, Meredith, I hope, is taking notes on this, because Lisa has jumped in for Meredith left and right. And she's like, yeah, but you're being mean for no reason, and it's as a show. And Heather's like, and she's like, that really is hurting my feelings. You're doing this, and it's hurting my feelings. And I think Heather heard that and went, fuck, you're right. I think she was on her high horse. I think she had put herself up on a pedestal and was, yeah, you're right. And she does, I think she started to apologize. I think that her apology, Heather's apology to Lisa, was sincere, because Lisa was 100% right. She's like, I'm not doing shit to you, and you're coming after me for no reason. Heather's been a total fucking bitch to Lisa.
Yeah.
And at this point, why? Why are you being,
Exactly.
it's for no reason. You're sitting there and you're poking at her.
Yeah.
Which is what she's complaining about Meredith doing. Meredith's making little cutting remarks. All Heather's doing is doing these like slaps in the face. Look at, we got Cartier bracelets. Guess you're not so special. Fuck off. Why?
Yeah.
So Meredith is like, no, Brittany, didn't I already work this out with you? Brittany doesn't really say anything. And she's like, it should be over because the Brittany and I part is over.
Yeah.
And then Whitney's like, I don't think that you have a problem. I think that you are the problem right now. And that's a shitty, annoying thing to say. Whitney needs to shut the fuck up. But then Meredith, like, she refuses to acknowledge that anyone might have a little bit of a point. Like, she's so defensive that she's like, no. And she's totally shut down. And then she starts getting, like, deflecting. And she's like, everyone at this table has done things that are much worse. And it's like, that might be true. But we're not talking, we can talk about all of that. But what we're talking about right now is this one thing. And if she was just like, I shouldn't have behaved like that, and say it, be willing to say it in front of the group, I think that it would finally be over. She doesn't even have to say, like, I attacked Brittany physically. All she say is, like, I made choices that I wish I hadn't have made. It wasn't the right behavior. I have sorted out with Brittany, and I have apologized. We're looking to move forward. Go forward. But she can't, because now she's in her defensiveness and deflection and refusal to take any notice of, like, maybe she did fuck up a little bit to the group. Now she's hurt Heather, called Heather a liar. Whitney's getting in on it for some reason as well. I don't totally understand. And so she's, like, stuck. She's cornered herself into this, which, like, I'm sorry, if that many people were telling me, you really fucked up, you were out of control, I would take 2 seconds and go, did I? Was I? And Meredith doesn't question herself at all, at least not in front of these women. Yeah. And maybe you have to be like that to stay strong, but Meredith isn't staying strong because we saw her unravel on the boat. So this whole thing sucks. So Meredith gets up and she walks away. Lisa chases after her. Lisa, being a really good friend. Lisa keeps saying, hey, let's all just be the friend that we want from each other. Like, show each other how we want that friendship to go. Lisa's walking the walk more than anybody else right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the whole thing sucks. I think Heather was starting to see the light of, like, maybe stop being such a fucking bulldog. And then Whitney's like, no, be a bulldog. We've got to stand on principle on this, Whitney, drunk asshole. And then Meredith refusing to take accountability is what I saw. That's how I took that dinner. How are you feeling?
I agree with what you said, but I also saw a little bit, like you said, Meredith was so far down a hole that it's hard to climb out of once you're so deep somewhere in whatever it is that you're in. It's harder to come out when you're that deep. But she's got a table full of hatred looking back at her. I appreciate when Meredith says, I disagree with you, calmly, quietly, to the point, and then doesn't engage anymore. I appreciate that. And then wanting to talk to people one-on-one later, I find that more mature. And then instead of hashing it out in front of 10 different people, because I don't think Meredith's wrong. Heather just wants everybody to get riled up behind her. And that's what Heather wants. Heather doesn't want this apology. She wants everybody to be on her side. And somehow that's going to make her status higher or bigger or larger or whatever word you want to use if everybody's on Heather's side. But I do see Meredith kind of in this deep, dark hole that maybe she can't climb out of easily anymore, where a couple weeks ago she probably could have.
Yeah.
or maybe even at Bronwyn's party. But these women are vicious and are not going to let it go. No matter what happened, I don't think Meredith will ever say, yes, I did X, Y, and Z. Ever. I don't think she ever will say that.
Unless there's footage at the reunion, which they just recorded. God damn it, I hope there is. Here's the other thing. I think they could have had a happy medium. I think this is what... Here's my dream scenario to finally get this fucking over with. We don't want one-on-one. We also don't want to have a whole thing hashed out by the entire group, especially not fucking Whitney, right? I think Mary needs to be like the mediator. I think Mary needs to say like, let's get together. I'm a woman of God. Let me counsel you guys through this. And I think that would have been helpful. I'm wondering if that's going to happen. That I feel like is exactly how we nip this in the bud. That's how we get that. I guess that it's too late for that, but that's how we get this squashed is like Heather needs to feel like someone is backing her up. And Meredith needs to be able to connect directly without having the yapping behind. I think that would have been, and I think that's my dream scenario for this. That's how I think we fix this.
Yeah.
They showed us a couple little clips of like what's going to go on next, so I don't think I'm going to get that.
Yeah. No, I get that. But I think it should be over because Brittany accepted whatever Meredith said. Brittany accepted it and it's over. And I think it should be over. I'm not saying that Meredith gave an Oscar-winning apology or anything, but she said, I guess, felt she needed to say to get it to be done, and without admitting to anything. And Brittany has accepted it. And I think they just need to, it has nothing to do with them. It's not anything about them. This whole thing is not about Heather. It's not about Whitney. It's not about Angie. It's not even about Lisa. It's about Brittany and Meredith. They are done. It should be over with. But I just, it's a bit much. We just need to stop talking about it.
I would love to move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully they figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll see what happens next week. Will we see what happens next week?
I think there's one or two more. I don't remember how many more.
I'm just wondering if they're going to give it to us over Christmas break. I don't know.
Right. I forgot about that.
But they gave it to us over Thanksgiving.
They did.
So who knows? Maybe.
And here we are. All back together.
All back together. And we can move on to True Crime Story Time.
True Crime Story Time. Whispers in the dark. Truth leaves a mark. True Crime Story Time.
True Crime Story Time. Yes. This was a pretty good one. This was a fast one again. I really like these shorter true crime documentary. I found this one on TikTok. Somebody had posted a clip about it, and I have never heard of this series at all. I didn't even know it existed.
I'm a fan already. Like, if you see more of these that you like, I think that we should do it. Yeah. I like the format of this, and I like we've only seen one episode. I've only seen one episode. But I liked the direction that this documentary was more focused on the procedures, more about how they do the investigation, and then also giving you background on the victims.
Yeah.
And then the dark, dirty part of me was like, what the fuck? With the villain of this story. But I'll let you, because I want more of that, but also I don't want more of that. But I'll let you dive into it because it's a really good one.
It was really good. So this is on HULU, and the series is called Interrogation Raw. So it's kind of around interrogation interview videos with the police. And it's season 1, episode 1. It's called Lost in the Leaves. Oh boy, remember that, everybody. So this is only 43 minutes long. Like I said, it's super quick, nice and easy. They get right into it. And This takes place in Mount Vernon, Ohio. Never been to Ohio. Don't know anything about Ohio. Or I know Columbus, Ohio. And that's about it.
So pretty.
Yeah.
They kept showing the aerial shots of their town, and it was just like at fall, so it was just trees of every color. Yeah. And like it's really pretty.
Yeah, this is Mount Vernon, Ohio. And this took place in 2010, this true crime. So like with every true crime, we start out with a 911 dispatch. And it says on November 11th in 2010, we hear a 911 dispatch call from Valerie. She is a manager at the local Dairy Queen, and she says to officers, hey, I have an employee that has not shown up for work for the last 2 days, and that is not like her. And I went to her house today to check on her. And I'm at her house, and I went inside her house, and there is blood everywhere. And so dispatch also, they say, you know, don't go back in or leave the house. She says, nope, I'm outside. I will stay here. Tell us that this story is going to be about 32 years old, Tina Herman, her 2 kids, Sarah and Cody. Sarah's 13, Cody's 11, and Tina's friend, Stephanie. But Tina and her kids live with Tina's boyfriend. So they all live in a house together. And this is the house that her employer, her boss, went into. And nobody's there, and there's just blood everywhere. So these pictures that they show us
awful.
Inside the house was incredible. These are not black and white photos. These are in color. And I have only seen a few true crime documentaries where there is so much blood everywhere. And this was one of the top 5 amount of blood in this home. So we learned that Valerie had climbed in through a rear window to get in the house. And I am going to guess that that window was left open by the person who did these crimes. But anyway, so Valerie climbs in the window, and that's how she gets into the house. So we see the front doorway, the front entryway of the house has a gigantic blood stain where it looks like, I wrote down before we find anything out, it looks like someone's been hit and then had fallen onto the carpet because it is just a massive, gigantic stain. And then, yes, and then there's drag marks through the hallway into the bedrooms and then back into the bathroom. And the bathroom is the worst area in this house. It is just covered in blood.
I mean, it looked like a horror movie, it looked like a college film horror movie. It looked like a joke, a caricature of what this scene would look like if you were
if you had staged it, right? If you had thrown blood or poured it like you had staged it, for a film or something. There was so much blood all over the floor, up onto the shower curtain, inside the bathtub. There was large blood splatter on the back of the bathtub wall. I mean, all over inside. And it looked like smears, blood smears and drag marks around the bathtub, on the floor. It was just incredible, the amount of blood that was in this bathroom. So the police then tell us there's grocery bags in the kitchen that were on the floor. That looks like, Tina had just got home from the grocery store and put the bags down, because inside the bags were, perishable groceries that you would have immediately, once you get in your house, you would put them in the fridge, right? Like hamburger or cheese or something like that. So there's perishables. So they know that she had just got home with these groceries based on, what was in the bags. And so then you get to see a little clip of CNN. So this story of this missing family goes nationwide. CNN reports, right, this whole family has just disappeared and the police are trying to find her and her family. So we find out the police say that Tina's kids, Sarah and Cody, had gone to school on Wednesday and then were not in school on Thursday. And so now the police are very worried. Right now we have 2 missing kids. And the police also tell us that looking at the blood stains and the smears and the drag marks, which you have to definitely have education for this, but there was 3 different patterns of blood stains and patterns of drag marks, meaning 3 different people were probably killed in this house. Then they said that there was motor oil poured on the carpet and poured throughout the rooms like someone was going to set the house on fire.
Mm-hmm.
So they saw that. And then throughout, I think it was the oil pattern, maybe even the blood, but there was shoe prints that they identified throughout the house as a 7.5-foot airwalk shoe, which they're thinking is the 13-year-old daughter. So that's about the size of a 13-year-old girl and the shoe that she would wear. And so they're saying, okay, we think the 13-year-old daughter has gotten out of the house based on these footprints in the oil and in the blood inside the house. So they want to, they talk a little bit about, Tina, and, she was a really good mom and her kids were involved in sports and she was always there. They went to movies together and they were just a really very loving, very tight family. People had nothing but good things to say about Tina and her kids and how she was a good mom. So they find out randomly that Tina's friend Stephanie has gone missing at the same time. And I think it's through interviews. They don't really tell us specifically how they find out that Stephanie's gone missing. But I think they start to interview, friends and family. And through those interviews, they find out that Stephanie was going to go to Tina's house that Thursday because Tina was looking for an apartment, looking to move out of this house. And so they were going to go apartment hunting together. So that's why they now know that this Stephanie is missing as well. So they start interviewing, like they usually do, the husbands, boyfriends of the females that are missing. So they interview Tina's ex-husband, Larry, who's the kid's dad also. And Larry is very... he seems like a good guy, right? He's saying, I love my kids. There's nothing more important to me than my kids. And I just have a weird feeling that there's something wrong. My kids, I just feel like they're gone. And so they interview Larry. Then they interview a couple of coworkers of Tina to find a timeline, like when the last time she was at work. Has anybody talked to her? And they interview a male friend of Stephanie's to get more of a timeline. He had talked to Stephanie on Tuesday and both Wednesday. And that's how I guess they knew that she was going to go over to Tina's house through this other gentleman that they had spoke to. Then they find out that Tina has a live-in boyfriend named Greg. And so they want to talk to Greg. And they're a little bit leery of Greg at first because Greg is nowhere to be found until the end of the day or the nighttime.
I'm convinced it's Greg.
Right.
Convinced it's Greg.
Right. They bring this guy in because he's not showing up trying to find out what's happening with the girlfriend and the kids that he lives with, which seems really suspect, right? They bring him in and talk to him and they ask him, hey, we heard that Tina was looking for an apartment. And he was like, I don't know if she was or not. He was just kind of aloof and kind of, you're definitely getting this guy did it vibe.
Yeah. And he's very open. He's like, we've been having problems. And he's like, I really care about these kids. I want to know if I can go looking. Can I go? And I didn't trust him for a second.
Yeah.
I was like, he did it. He definitely did it.
Me too. He's like, I'm sleeping on a mattress in the front room, in the living room. Like, that's weird.
I was like, oh, your girlfriend's trying to break up with you and now she's suddenly missing?
Yeah.
Weird, Greg.
You don't know that she's looking for an apartment because you're on a mattress. It was just a weird, thing. So he says, which I also was not a fan of. He says something to the effect of, I'm pretty sure she wanted to get back together with me. That's the feeling that I got. Because she got jealous when I was leaving that day. Dude, is that what men think? That if we come off jealous that we want to get back into a relationship with you? That was just a weird...
If we're irritated with you, it's because we're jealous. Like, oh, He had,
Okay.
what was his alibi was that he was going to go spend the night at a friend's house because they're already not doing well. So he's going to go spend the night at a friend's house and go golfing the next morning with a coworker. And so like, yeah, if you've been in this household helping raise these kids for the last several years and now everything's shitty and you're going to go, you're not sleeping in the same room and now you're not even going to sleep in the same house and you had shared those. And she's like, ugh. That doesn't mean that she's jealous and that she wants
I
to.
know, right? It gave me weirdo vibes. You know, he said I left at 3:30 in the morning, which was weird too. Like maybe he had a weird job. Had a weird job, but he said I woke her up at 3:30 in the morning and she got pissed off at me, and so I know she wants to get back together with me. Bad. All of that was bad, Greg.
Don't wake anyone up that early ever.
Yeah, like you said, he was going to work. He was going to go golfing. He was going to spend the night at a friend's house. They verified all of that. So Greg is out as a suspect, we find out. So they're like, okay, it's not Greg. After that, you know, couple days or a day and a half of doing all those interviews, then the police say they go back to the house because they're still processing the house, and they find in the garage like a plastic grocery bag in the garage that has 2 tarps in it and large heavy duty black garbage bags in this grocery bag. And the name of the grocery store is on the outside of the bag. And so they're like, okay, we're going to go to that store, Walmart or whatever, and we're going to see if they can look through their surveillance tapes, see who bought these bags. And they showed a receipt, and I wasn't sure if they had the receipt in the bag or they found the receipt from the store.
Yeah, it was in the bag, and so they were like, oh, this was bought around the same time, but not from the same grocery store.
Yeah. So they do find the surveillance video of a gentleman buying these bags, the tarp and the grocery bags, and they can see his face. They watch on the video that he gets into a car and drives away, but they can't see the license plate on the car. But the security guard at this grocery store goes, yeah, I know what kind of car that is. That's a Toyota Yaris, and that's kind of a unique kind of a car to have apparently in Ohio. And so the police are like, let's just run everybody in this city that has this Toyota Yaris registered. And they said that they find a gentleman named Matthew Hoffman, that his driver's license picture looks exactly like the picture of the video of the guy at the store. And the dude's wearing the same shirt in his driver's license photo as wearing at the store on surveillance.
The fact that I think these police officers did, I mean, how often are we really giving credit to the police officers?
Never.
These police officers did this incredible job. In the garage, and the garage was like rickety looking, right? The house was a nice house, but the garage was like, the door was half on there. Yeah. And like, the house was in shambles, probably from the attacks, but also this is a single mom with 2 kids. So, and it's a good sized house. There's probably stuff everywhere. And they find a grocery bag that has these tarps and this receipt in it in the garage away from the other things. And they quickly put 2, like that quick. They're like 2 and 2 together. Somebody else may have brought this in because this is not the same store. But we can, at the very least, we can get a timeline on this because this, I can see on the receipt, it was bought at this time. I mean, that is exactly the kind of job you want the police officers to do, because that, in my mind, is a needle in a haystack.
Well, and to do it so quickly the day after or a day and a half later, we never see that. Never. Mm-hmm. We've talked about these true crime stories going on for 20, 30 years and then never finding the person. But yeah, so they find Matthew Hoffman and they get a search warrant for his home. They bust down the door and old Matty is sleeping on the couch in his living room. So they have him, again, a miracle. They arrest him, take him into custody. And from here on out, I become violent just watching his interrogation interviews with this gentleman. I cannot. I love serial killer shows. I watch them on YouTube. We do this. I have never seen what this man does for days on end. So they bring him in and They have 2 male officers in the room, and they're doing the whole thing like, how do you know these people? What's going on, right? He is not talking to them, like literally not even looking at them. He's got his eyes closed, his head down. He's not even acknowledging that he is even awake. Like they think the man is comatose. So they break away, and while they're in his home, the home is filled with leaves, people. Leaves from trees, like leaves. And I'm
The
not
living
talking.
room? Yeah. It's just the floor is covered in leaves. So that's weird.
Knee deep of leaves, at least knee deep. I mean, you can't see the floor. There's so many leaves in a gigantic pile. They go into another room. The man has packed leaves in plastic shopping bags and stacked them on top of each other up against his wall. From floor to ceiling, the man has leaves. They're like,
Massive
is this for insulation?
bags.
What are we doing with these leaves? They're
And it was
everywhere.
lined up kind of precisely. They're all filled to the same amount, lined up pretty precisely, kind of layered on top of each other, almost like shingles, but they're not shingles. They're giant bags of leaves. It is so disturbing.
It's so
and this
weird.
This is what I was saying. The dark part of me, mostly I love that this documentary is focused on the policing process and the interrogation process and how they thought this through and how they approached this. And it's amazing. They did not they go, yeah, he had a tree fetish. What?
Right.
And
we just skip over that.
He climbs a lot of trees.
He
likes trees a lot. I want to know everything about this. I also
What?
wish that I didn't know it existed.
I gave it a Goog and we wrote some stuff down. We wrote some stuff down. So it is actually called dendrophilia, also known as arborphilia. I get the whole arbor. But dendrophilia is the name of having a fetish with leaves and or trees. And it said it was a subsection of a paraphilia. Do you know what a paraphilia is? No, I don't know what that is. Let's give it a Goog, shall we? The definition of a paraphilia is an intense, persistent sexual interest in objects, situations, or non-consenting individuals that are not typically considered sexual by nature. Okay? So I can get behind that, right? Leaves are not sexual, people. Trees are not necessarily sexual. But then we go even deeper. And what's an example of a paraphilia? Let's give it a Goog, shall we? Something called partialism. That's a sexual attraction to a specific non-genital body part, like feet or hair. You can have zoophilia, a sexual attraction to non-human animals or a form of bestiality. Necrophilia, we all know what that is.
Oh.
Clismophilia, a sexual arousal or sexual gratification from receiving or giving enemas.
No thanks. No thank you.
Coprophilia, with a C, a sexual arousal or sexual gratification from feces, viewing it, touching it, or smelling it. Urophilia, golden showers. And then infantilism, right? We know what that is. Failure to attain, right? Sexual maturity. Things are younger than what it is. Icky. So dendrophilia, the definition is sexually aroused or attracted to trees, which typically involves the act of some sort of sexual contact with the leaves or the tree itself.
So they had said that he had worked for like a tree cutting company, like an arborist company.
Yep.
Previously. So Can you imagine being a guy, like, because most of these arborist companies, they're like, family owned or whatever, and then they hire out some guys to help them do the work, and then this guy is like on the job with you, and then it's like, why does Matt have a boner right now?
Why is he rubbing up against the tree?
On?
Yeah. So inside the house, as they're, maneuvering through the leaves, they're saying, other than the leaves, really, there's nothing weird inside this house until they get to the basement door. The basement door has a gigantic dresser pushed up against it. That's not normal. What is he keeping in the basement that he doesn't want out of the basement? We're not talking ghosts, people. So they remove the dresser. They go downstairs into the basement. They find more leaves.
Just covering the basement floor.
Obviously, more leaves.
So fucking weird.
And Sarah. Sarah is in the basement, tied up on top of the leaves. He has put blankets down on top of the leaves for her to sleep. But she's, tied at her feet and her wrists. She has big kind of work gloves over her hands and then duct tape over the work gloves. She's just tied up downstairs, but she's alive. So they find Sarah, and which is fantastic and wonderful, but there's no sign of anybody else in the family in the house, just Sarah. Sarah tells them that he has sexually assaulted her, and gives them more of a timeline of what happened from her perspective. We cut back to Crazy at the police office, continuing to just be comatose and ignore these officers. The officers are going through a gamut of, okay, we'll just give you a minute. I know this is rough. So they wait. Okay, she's going to be fine. We found Sarah in the house. She's going to be okay. So don't worry about her. Right? They do all this. And this is where I get violent. They're so nice to him. They're so nice to him to try and get him to talk. And yes, everybody, I get it. I know they need him to confess, him to tell what's going on. But I'm sorry. You just butchered my family and you're being nice to this man. Like, I was so angry watching them interview him. So the two men go back and forth. They switch places. The other officer tries to get a little bit more stern with him. Are you just, this creepy, crazy person? Are you a nice guy? Like, what is it? Because you're looking kind of crazy right now. They interview him for hours like this.
Mm-hmm.
Just hours, nothing. After 2 or 3 hours, he finally starts to do some sort of weird form of sign language. No, we don't believe that you're deaf and or can't speak. No, we don't. So he opens his eyes, he looks at them, he starts making gestures to his heart, making gestures like a broken sign language with his hands. And so they're trying to repeat these words back to him. Your heart's broken. Why is your heart broken? And then he goes back to being comatose and stops talking, stops using sign language. It's so fucking weird. And you can tell this man is a sociopath. Just
yeah.
Immediately, you can tell that. So they stop, they take him back. They stopped the interview. They've been doing it for hours and hours. Right. The police start talking, how they have to really try and figure out a way to get him to talk because he's going to be appointed a public defender or get an attorney at some point. And, these attorneys don't want them talking to the police, which is true. And so they're on this, time crunch where they're running out of time and they know that. So the next day, they try something different. Another police officer from their criminal bureau of investigation, which is maybe a state FBI, I'm not quite sure. So this gentleman goes in and talks to him and they say, I'm going to go in and talk to him because I talked to Sarah. I interviewed her. I know that he sexually assaulted her. I know that he allowed her to take a shower. I know he allowed her to have something to eat. And so he was trying to quote unquote take care of her. So I'm going to try and use this little girl idea in interviewing him. So he does. He goes in there and says things like that. I know you care about Sarah. I know you gave her a shower. If you didn't care about her, you wouldn't let her take a shower. You wouldn't let her eat. We know you cared about her. She's going to be fine, but we want to know what happened. She wants to know where her mom and her brother are. Can you tell us to be able to tell her? So they work that angle, trying to talk to him that way. He starts to cry, which I didn't believe, but he cries and he's, wiping his tears with his arm. And he just woke up and this girl was here in his house and he didn't know how she got there.
It was so disturbing.
what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to go with, I have amnesia and I have no idea how she got there. So now he's playing this victim. Now he's the victim, right? Angled to the police.
Yep.
And he says, I figured I'd done something wrong because she's in my house and she's not normally living in my house. And you're just watching this go, this is the grossest thing I've ever heard. Like, it was so hard to watch. It was so hard to watch.
He wouldn't just say it. And they're like begging for any information they can get from him. I really commend this police department because they're doing everything that they can, but they're following it.
Yeah.
The letter of the law.
Yeah.
Like, because you just want to take like a piece of wood and smack him in the side. He might like that actually. Yeah. But you want to just like hurt him. You want to be like, just say everything, like shake him down, like Batman, right?
Yeah.
Like, where are they?
Oh, yeah.
And you can't, and they're not, and they are being so careful with their very limited amount of time to do this exactly by the letter, because if they did do something like rough him up or something, then everything could get thrown out, right? Then he could go walk free, and they don't. They want him to, or he could just never say anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that they did a really good job of taking all of those things into account.
Yeah. So he's interviewing him. The FBI guy, Joe, is interviewing him for 5 hours. And he finally stops, tries to give him his card. And Matthew goes comatose again. He's playing this weird angle again. So then he leaves. And now it's Monday morning. They brought him in, and he is in suicide jail clothes instead of regular jail clothes. Which look like one of those chest protector vests and like this weird kind of, I don't know, lap thing that wraps around his waist. So he can't try and kill himself. He can't cut it up, and he can't turn it into anything. So he doesn't have any clothes on underneath it. So he looks kind of different this time. So the police say, okay, well, he took this 13-year-old girl. He's assaulted her. Maybe he will talk to a female officer. So they bring in this female officer, Kristen, and, they have her put her hair in a ponytail, try and make her look a little bit younger and try and appease him that way, which is so gross. I can't even wrap my mind around. So she walks in, and they've kind of reconstructed the room differently, where before they had a table between the police officers interviewing him and where he sat. This time they put the table all the way to the other end of the wall, and she and Matthew sat next to each other face to face and did the interview that way. So she says, he starts shivering uncontrollably, and because he's basically not wearing any clothes. So she brings in a coat, wraps him up in a coat, and starts talking to him. And he immediately starts to cry again and says to her, I don't know who these other people are. And she says, I don't know what other people you're talking about. And he says, the other people those guys grilled me about the other day, I don't know who they are. And she says, okay. And then they start to think, well, maybe he's hungry, right? Because he's been doing this for a couple of days. So they bring him in a pizza, breadsticks, and soda. And so she basically feeds him and sits there, and they have this lovely snack together. He says, there was this girl in my house. I didn't know this girl was in my house. I didn't know what happened. I can't even forgive myself for that, which nobody believes. But he starts playing this victim card again with her.
And it says something about her, because she does this entire thing so straight-faced, and she's like, my job is to care for him, to try and coax him out, to try and get him to talk. And he's like, I just found her in my house, so I was like feeding her and trying to take care of her and telling her that's okay. I just want her to feel comfortable. And it's like, this police officer, she knows that he raped this 13-year-old girl. Yeah. She knows that he did this. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, you're just trying to take care of her. And you're like, ugh. I mean, you and I would be like, our eyes would be twitching.
Yeah, couldn't do it. It was hard to watch. Then at some point says, after I was relieved that SWAT came in, and so now she can go back to her family. I'm sorry, you just said that you don't know how she got there, but now she can go. I mean, he just went back and forth about seeming like he had no idea what was going on to saying things that a person that had done this knew exactly what was happening. Like he said, he had no cognizance of her being in there, but then he was glad it was over. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so after, 4 hours with Kristen, the female police officer, he says, I want to go back to my cell. And they stop the interview for that day. The police know, again, that they're working on this timeline. And so the next day, he comes in and he's now wearing normal jail clothes, right? With kind of looks like scrubs, but he's got normal jail attire on. And it's in the morning and he's eating breakfast. And he's trying to have this nonchalant, very weird conversation. So Chris is in the room and then Joe, the FBI agent. So the two of them are in the room with him. And Matthew's like, is this, you guys just starting your day out? Sipping his coffee. It was very weird, again, to watch. And Joe
especially
says,
after a day and a half ago, he was like
comatose.
Doing sign language.
Yeah,
at
and
them.
Sign language.
My heart's broken. Like, what
it's
is
so weird. And so they start to think, okay, his demeanor is completely changed. Now he knows that he's in control. And so now he's comfortable with being in the room with them. And he doesn't have handcuffs on. He's not shackled to the floor. He is just free as a bird sitting in there with them. And they're trying to talk. But then Joe, the FBI agent, says, the day before, he told me off camera that he wanted to have a discussion with me by myself. And so he brings that up and he says, do you want to have that talk right now? Just the two of us. So he asks the female police officer to leave. She leaves the room. And then Matthew says, I need to use the bathroom. This coffee's kind of kicking in. Will you take me to the bathroom? And they all know that he's not handcuffed, that he could completely overpower him or a number of officers, because he's a big guy. At the end, we see how big he is. He's over 6 feet at least.
And he's all he does is climb trees. He's climbing trees all the time.
He's a big dude.
Just muscly guy.
But you don't really see that until the end when they're in court and he walks in with the other deputies, and the other deputies are just shrunk compared to him. So anyway, Joe says, you're not going to overpower me and take my gun. Kind of jokes with him. And he's like, you can give your gun to somebody else. I just need to go to the bathroom. So Joe says they go to the bathroom. Matthew has him go in with him. And again, red flags going, why does he want me to go into the bathroom with him? This seems really weird. He knows there's no cameras. There's no video. There's no microphones in there. But then Matthew tells Joe, I had this dream last night that I was in a meat packing plant warehouse and there was cut up body parts everywhere. And now we're into a dream. Okay. So they go back into the room. Chris comes back in. And so he starts to tell Chris, I had a dream and it was really disgusting things in this garbage can. And I don't know what was real. He said that Matthew had told Joe while they were in the bathroom that Matthew would confess and basically tell him what happened under a certain set of circumstances, that they would have to take Matthew out to where he left the bodies, and Matthew would try and escape, and then they had to agree to shoot and kill him. Or he wasn't going to do it. He wasn't going to tell them where the bodies were. He wasn't going to tell them what happened, but they all had to agree that this whole scenario was going to take place. So Matthew gets in the room, and while he's telling Chris and Joe about this dream, he's like, I'm just trying to figure out a way for you guys to kill me. And Chris is like, I people need to know what happened. Just tell us what happened. I know you can, it's just right there on the tip of your tongue. I know you want to tell us. So they get a knock at the door, and the person on the other side says, it's over. You're done. His public defender is here and won't let you talk to him anymore. So they stop the interview and they can't talk to him anymore because he has an attorney, which is normal. The next day, the prosecutor and his public defender come to an agreement. a plea deal that they take the death penalty off the table.
Which he wanted to die yesterday. What the hell are they talking about?
Right. Really weird. So they take the death penalty off the table. He's going to confess. He's going to tell them what happened and where the bodies are. Matthew writes this 10-page letter, this confession, explaining what happened. So he says the bodies are in the woods in this wildlife refuge inside a hollowed out tree. So they go to this wildlife refuge, and he says there's a large beech tree, and about 70 feet up, there's no branches anymore, but then about 7 feet from the ground, there's this large knot, and you can see inside the tree. So they go to this refuge, they find this tree, they look inside the hole, and they can see black garbage bags inside this tree. So they cut open the tree, and they show us pictures of them, doing that and looking inside the tree, and there's these big garbage bags inside the tree. He says in his letter, which is incredible, he climbed to the top of this tree with these garbage bags to be able to drop them down inside of it. How strong do you have to be to do that, first of all?
I mean, it's bananas. It's bananas to me. And the fact that, okay, so this just goes back to his weird tree fetish. The fact that he knows where this specific tree is, it's like he staked out this tree for specifically this purpose.
Yes.
Or maybe he was climbing trees and went, you know what I could do with this tree? Because the tree was so big and so thick. And it's, like you said, 70 feet up in the air. He couldn't just drop it in a hole on the side of the tree. He had to climb up the tree with the bodies and then drop it down. It has a little teeny hole that they could look in, but the tree itself is so thick that they had taken the dogs through there, the cadaver dogs, and the dogs never marked on it. They couldn't sense because it was such a thick old tree.
Yeah. He had to have known that. That is just incredible to me. So yeah, they find the bags. They have to open the bags to make sure the bodies are in there. And the police officers are like, it was the worst, most horrific thing. Nobody will ever forget that. So the bodies are in there. They don't show us, thank God, any of that, but they go through the bags. And then Matthew's confession says that he had just found the house the day before. He found the house the day before. He's still claiming that it was a home invasion for theft. He had staked out the house. He spent the night across the street in a sleeping bag watching the house. That is so freaking creepy. I can't. Anyway, he said he woke up the next morning. He saw Tina leave. He thought for work that she would be gone for a long time. And so he tried to go in through the front door. Front door was locked. But like you said, the garage was all rickety and the door hadn't come down all the way to the driveway, and it was just open a little bit, and he slid under the garage door. That's how he got into the house. He said that Tina came home unexpectedly. Like I said, he thought she was going to be at work all day. She came home, and he said he was going to hit her over the head and just knock her unconscious. She wouldn't go unconscious. While attacking Tina and hitting her, I would guess repeatedly, Stephanie walks into the house. Stephanie is her friend that they're going to go apartment hunting that day. She walks in the house and catches him attacking Tina. He says he felt overwhelmed and out of control, so he starts stabbing Tina and Stephanie. So he's just stabbing them, killing them. He said, the kids come home from school early. And he attacks the children at the front door. And they don't really tell us. I don't want to know. But they imply that he killed Cody or attacked Cody first, the 11-year-old boy. And then Sarah's version was she saw him and ran to her room. So I'm going to guess while he was killing Cody, she ran to her room, locked herself in there. And Matthew said, it's a 13-year-old girl. I can completely subdue her and overpower her. There's no reason for me to kill her. I'm just going to take her. So basically, out of the kindness of his heart is why she's alive.
He really thinks that he did something kind there.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I didn't kill her. He's awful.
He's awful. So he takes Sarah, and then he says he quote unquote processed the bodies in the bathtub. That is so horrific. That word is terrible. Processed the bodies in the bathtub, and then thought he would go to the gas station, buy some gasoline, and then burn the house down. But for whatever reason, that didn't happen. It didn't even look like...
And he did it with motor oil instead. So, like, all the big puddles of blood in the house where you could see something dark brown had been poured all over on top of it.
Yeah. So they say that, finally January in 2011, so he committed the murders in November. They went to sentencing in January. Again, I work in this system. It does not go this fast. Ever.
So fast.
Ever. So January, he pleads guilty. And like I said, we get to see him walking into the courtroom for his hearings, and he is a gigantic man. So the court accepts his pleas, that he gets sentenced on 3 counts of aggravated murder, kidnapping, and rape, and he's sentenced to life in prison without parole. They said that Sarah is doing much better now, that she has kids of her own and is going back to school. They don't tell us much about how Sarah was between right now and then. But they said that she's doing really good, and the police really feel really good about the job that they did, that they don't have any regrets about this case at all, which they shouldn't. And again, I never say anything nice about the police, ever.
Every single thing, like, this guy is a monster.
Yeah.
And they did every single thing right in this whole process. They moved quickly. They found that needle in a haystack of that shopping bag in the garage.
Yeah.
I mean, just excellent police work that, like, maybe that's why that case went through so fast, just because the Mount Vernon, Ohio police department justice system is a well-oiled machine. Good for them.
Yeah, it was really great. So yeah, they, had the funeral, and, 500 plus people showed up, and it was really lovely. But again, Sarah's doing good 15 years ago, so good on her. But
this is one of those, horrific. So he reminded me of our case that we had done about the family in Connecticut.
Yes.
So he reminded me of, like, a dumb version of that guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I think the other guy, really smart and thought through things a little bit differently, but had the same compulsions to be a thief and then also attack young girls. And I think that this goes to say what you had said before, which is, like, he didn't have any violent crimes. He has this history of breaking and entering. He has this history of theft, and he's had 18 charges for this.
Yeah.
And he's been to jail a million times, but he doesn't have any violent crime. It's like, well, it escalates.
Right.
That guy knew how to break into a house. That guy was waiting. That was the same thing that happened in the other case.
Yep.
So if they have this history of breaking and entering and staking out houses, there's a pattern there.
Yeah.
And it escalates.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying and gross.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Again, we learned a lot. Fetish of leaves and other disorders, which were fun to Google. And again, let me just tell you.
I really appreciated how they approached this documentary. Again, looking at the process, looking at the police work, and not necessarily going into that dark part of us that's, like, looking for the icky details. And they're like, this is how we interrogated them, and this is how we solved this crime. So,
right.
I actually really appreciated that, and I thought that was very cool, even though the crime scene photos were some of the worst I think I've ever seen. Me too.
It was terrible. But they didn't get into, like, a lot of these documentaries where they're 3-4 episodes long or 3 hours long, where they talk about the offender's history and how they grew up. And,
I don't need to know about Matthew Hoffman's childhood.
No,
because fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Do not give a shit.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, good find. Maybe we'll do more of that going forward.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Thank you so much for doing a podcast with me. This is really fun. And yeah, I'm hoping that you can let me know if Vanderpump is worth it or not.
I will.
We'll kind of see where we're at. But,
all right.
I love you. This is super fun. And we'll do this next week.
Okay, I love you.
I love you. Bye-bye.